Hey YouTube, it's been a little while. This Russia brouhaha has tempted me out of my rest and back to offering my opinion to the marketplace of ideas. Please note that, unlike a cult or the authoritarian-minded, I will not suggest you need professional help if you disagree with me. Neither will I disrespect and ascribe negative intention to you or accuse you of gloating or mental illness. I will not accuse you, the listener, of being hate-filled, and most importantly, I will not display a messiah complex by promoting myself as the sole route to post-cult happiness. Nor will I suggest that exiting a cult could be condensed down to a one-size-fits-all process overseen by one fearless leader. Finally, I will not presume to speak for you or imply my voice is more important than yours. I do not aspire to be an elder with sheep that follow and financially support me, and neither will I use the tactics and language of this damaging group to suppress well-meaning, well-intentioned people with insulting rhetoric. Before I tell you why I agree with the ban, I want to remind you a little of the cult I left. The cult I left demonstrably has no regard for the most basic of human rights. When I was a member, I could not express any thought that differed from the cult on pain of rejection from my family. I could not choose my education, nor was the realm of medical choice open to me on pain of rejection from my family. This cult literally demanded I die rather than break their rules. My music, my occupation, my wife, my sex life, my friends, my entertainment, my clothing, my car type was selected for me if I wanted to remain on good terms with my family. I had to evangelize and try to convert others on a contracted, self-funded schedule if I wanted to speak to my parents and siblings, and any failure to meet their standard was used against me as a sign of spiritual weakness being punished by social banishment. If a child was raped, wife beaten, the elderly exploited for donations and labour, I had to talk to an elder and leave the matter in Jehovah's unseen hands, rather than inform the secular authorities and have them protect the rights of those Jehovah's Witness victims. In the United Kingdom, there is a criminal charge called perverting the course of justice, or harbouring a criminal, and we did this every day to protect Jehovah's good name and protect ourselves from being discarded by our families. I saw no respect for human rights in those days of being a Jehovah's Witness, and consider the appeal to human rights as inappropriate and hypocritical in these circumstances. I support the principle of human rights generally, but we all compromise rights constantly for the benefit of the wider community. My rights should not impose on yours, thus my rights are properly curtailed. It's not a human right to demand families shun each other or let each other die, nor should it be, and simply to say this self-evident thing should not be considered hate or mentally ill, regardless of a flowchart that is frankly beneath any intelligent person. Excuse me. I did not leave one cult to join another where independent thought and expression are demonized in the same way, and I do not recall voting for someone to presumptuously go on national media and harbour a criminal cult on my behalf. In fact, I am offended by it and would ask others to contact the BBC with me to let them know that their broadcast was actually a minority report, the opinion of one self-promoting person that enjoys less than flattering popularity, to make sure this person does not speak for us, and who would be difficult to distinguish from an orthodox Jehovah's Witness spokesperson on occasion. That's right, if we choose, we can contact media to ensure no unrepresentative figure gets the opportunity to speak on our behalf again. For this to be effective, our mails must be polite, well thought, and briefly express why these views are harmful and do not represent our views and aims. I used to admire the work of this individual when they provided factual information for us to make up our own minds, but I unsubscribed once facts succumbed to opinion, and opinion succumb to commercial self-promotion with a heavy side dish of patronising cult-minded authoritarianism. I'd like to quote J.W. Fairytale here. I just want the governing body to get a job. Although I do appreciate that particular nations' economies may not be hiring a foreigner without a special or rare skill. Before I go, I must give my reasons for supporting the ban, and in no particular order. This cult cannot claim persecution because Scientology and Mormons were banned too, which destroys their claim to specialness. 2. This cult regularly broke Russian law by publicly criticising the state church and government while stopping Russian citizens from participating in Russia's civic life. 3. In Russia, social services are limited and strained. Disfellowshipping your child, friends or parents can amount to a death sentence in their shocking winters. Russia depends on tight family units to care for their own. Interfering with or dissolving family life is a serious matter because outside of cities they have a neighbour helps neighbour open door lifestyle. 4. Russia is suspicious of American organisations that stop its members engaging in national service, voting, getting healthcare, seeking education and contributing with a personally maximal career. Remember, Jehovah's Witnesses collect money from poor people to send to America and potentially add to Russia's social care burdens now communism is dead. 5. The Jehovah's Witness legal defence did not address the fact that exclusivist life dispensing claims without evidence is illegal, as is saying the Orthodox Church is superstition. I'm sure the Australian Royal Commission probably didn't help either, but claiming to exclusively dispense eternal physical life without evidence is extreme on its face and analogous to when Britain protected its vulnerable people by banning faith healers who would not submit to medical research and scientific examination, which effectively meant all of them. Would you call that a human rights abuse? Is banning faith healing scams abusive, hateful and mentally ill? Or is it protective? Or do you want to go back to the days when little old ladies sent money to scammers that frightened them with chain letters and children were told that they must send money to protect themselves from God's anger? 6. Jehovah's Witnesses ignored years of requests to comply with local law. So Russia moved to protect its citizens from all those abuses we know of, and clearly do not want a secretive, exploitative cult harming their society from the inside out. Clearly Russia considers religion as a consumer protection issue, and I support their decision to look to the greater good in closing this fruity little club. Before I go, I want to quickly go back to my real point and what awoke me. Jehovah's Witnesses and ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are adult. We're grown. We are not sheep looking for a new Messiah to be lectured, led and told the research has been done. We're not looking for an elder to tell us they have all the answers and make promises of happiness. Frankly, this approach infantilizes and insults the ex and near ex community while seeking to promote the self to dear leader or petit messiah over us, and I personally decline. An active Jehovah's Witness on YouTube is already doubting enough to break cult rules and is already starting to think independently. They do not need to be confronted with another petty tyrant seeking to squash the free exchange of ideas, trying to squash free debate. No single voice, no single style can claim to deconvert a witness or indeed send them running back to the skirts of the cult, because they are adult and must think for themselves, form their own personal opinion from the many voices they will hear. The actuality is, Jehovah's Witnesses deconvert themselves once they have the inclination and information to do so. Every voice is valuable. And whilst we're in the business of quoting dystopian authors, I'd like to paraphrase H.G. Wells myself and say, all opinions are equal, but we cannot allow this one opinion to be more equal than others.